Why do people press the crosswalk button 100 times? Because it just needs the one press.
I so do that. Did meter maids invent the bitch face, or is that part of their job description?
Good question. When can summer end and the rain begin so I have something else to complain about?
Had a nightmare that I was being chased, but I completely forgot how to run. Anxiety is pervasive, people.
Hate that dream. Have such a good day. Hello and welcome to Have Such a Good Day.
We finally are in sync, Sarah.
In
episode
sync.
52.
Our cycles are aligned.
That too.
In more ways than one.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, everybody. And for anybody who has been with us for the last 51 episodes, this is kind of a special one because it's
really
episode
is.
52, which means Have Such a Good Day is 1 year old. Happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday, dear. Have such a good day.
Happy birthday to us. Woo! You know, it's funny. So it's, remember, 52 episodes because 52 weeks in a calendar year. Mm-hmm. 50 sort of felt like, you know, a milestone, but it's really 52. So
yeah.
Cheers to that. Cheers to all of you who have been listening this entire year. We feel close to you. Your names are just so familiar. You're our friends. We have had so much fun. It's crazy. I mean, a whole year, every single week, except for, I want to mention actually, people who wrote in last week. We had to take a week off, and we really apologize for that. It was just sort of impossible to keep up with everything. But you guys were so supportive, and we really appreciate it. And so we're back. Episode 52.
We're back.
Thanks for your patience.
We're back in my apartment. We've been on Heather's back porch for the last 4 episodes or so.
Oh, I don't have that porch anymore.
R.I.P. porch. Yeah, and that's and we'll get to this in a minute. We'll fill you in a little bit more on just sort of the
goings on,
the goings on in both of our lives, because life has gotten a little bit more complicated. But yeah, so that you live in a different place now.
I do. I live in a new place, not too far from Echo Park. I'm in a place called Beechwood Canyon. It's about 10. It can be actually it's 10 minutes without traffic. It's really close
without traffic.
But it's
so at 1 a.m.
like
it's 10
20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's it's always rough. Like you do the move and it's really hard, and you think it's over, but then you have to unpack, and it kind of just keeps going. And it's funny, your memories. It's good that our memories only down the road, you remember the positive stuff and not the negative. So you're not remembering that the day you were sweating like a dog and it was 90 degrees and you were lugging boxes and you hurt your back. Good thing you don't remember that, because I swear, I just moved in October, as you remember, and I knew it was going to be hard. But when I was in the thick of it, I was like, I don't remember it being this hard. Like, even 6 months ago, I was like, so all of you who've been comfortable in your houses for years and years and years, I think you've forgotten how hard it is to move. It's very traumatic. I mean, they do say it's
awful.
Death, divorce, moving. So number 3 is pretty significant. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad that you came out of it largely unscathed. Heather
relatively
donated her outdoor umbrella to me.
I did.
It's now in my backyard, and it's great. It actually has.
I'm so glad.
It has given my small, meek backyard
a little life.
A little life and a lot of shades.
Good.
So yeah, it's life goes on.
It
right?
really does.
It keeps on rolling.
And speaking of, we are going to discuss, since last episode 51, we talked about in the bonus topic our 5 favorite things, and these are just like kind of everyday things. This week we thought we would talk about our 5 least favorite things, and this is not school shootings, racism, all that stuff is, of course, our least favorite things ever.
These are more of those everyday
pet peeve
like
sort of
who
things.
are you as a person?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're really good at talking about
We are.
that.
We like to grouse.
Yes,
anyway,
we do. And sometimes, it's funny. A boyfriend of mine some years ago, I don't know what kind of mood I was in or what kind of mood he was in, but I was talking about something, and I don't even think I was in like a particularly bad mood. And he looked at me and he was like, Sarah, you complain a lot. And he just he wasn't mad. He just kind of said it matter-of-factly. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
What did you say?
I don't remember. Like, I was like, I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, here's the thing.
But I was like, that's just because it would be maybe me being like, you know what my 5 least favorite things are? And somebody either might be like, oh yeah, I've got some too. And they might be like, you complain a lot.
Yeah,
it just depends.
I think it's all so relative to like the person. And I mean, I tend to grouse too. We sort of built the show on it a little bit because it's like, in a way, it's like sometimes like the grousing it's therapeutic, and we're hoping that our sort of complaints and laughs and the irony of life and the daily bullshit will make you guys kind of laugh and relate, and so it turns into maybe a positive thing, hopefully.
Yeah,
because I know I don't like to grouse, and I think we have to be careful.
Oh, I love to grouse. I understand that you don't want to just sit in a corner complaining about things all day, which I do not do, by the way. And that guy sucked. For lots of different reasons. My biggest complaint is that he exists. But anyway, that is neither here nor there.
It neither is or there nor one of those
neither
things.
Nor. So Heather, this week I know that you are unpacking and kind of getting used to your new existence, and you got a new job and the whole thing. I speaking of work, I had to go to New York for work. I was not even in New York City for 36 hours.
Sounded pretty brutal.
I think I did the math. It's like I was there for 30 hours.
Oh,
it was supposed to be 36 hours, but my flight from LA to New York was delayed like 5 hours, and so
you must have lost your mind. You pulled your hair out a little bit?
I didn't lose my mind, but I have had really bad air travel luck pretty much all year. I mean, you and I went to Mexico City, and I don't remember us having any issues. Like,
I think it was pretty good. We had a layover, but it was
but like the flights were on time.
Yeah.
We got there when we were supposed to. It was it kind of worked as usual. Since then, and that was in January. Since then, every single flight I've had is either delayed.
You've had
or
weird
canceled.
stuff, for sure.
There's weather issues.
You had that TSA thing.
There was a TSA thing. I mean, it has just been, it's there's nothing you can do about it.
But it makes you not want to travel.
Yeah, it makes me just be like, I don't like flying.
And you already have anxiety to go, and it's only going to make it hard.
Yeah, and it's hard to go anyway. It's like someone's got to take care of Lucy and Otis and the packing, and it's early mornings and the whole thing. So anyway,
one of your pet peeves.
It is. Yes. Spoiler.
Least favorite things.
Yeah, least favorite thing, air travel. But I when I got to New York, again, I was, I got in really, really late. In the middle of the week, it was like Wednesday night, like 1 a.m.
Oh,
and
man.
I just, got, just taxi took me straight to the hotel, got my room, went to sleep. Had a very long day the next day of work, and then thankfully, didn't have to take a red eye home, was able to kind of like just walk around the city for like a couple hours, go to bed, and then got up the following morning and came home. Mm-hmm. And summer in New York, for anybody who isn't, hasn't been to the city or hasn't been there in a while, it's very soupy. It's hot and it's humid.
Soupy's a good word.
It wasn't that hot when I was there, but it was like, it's humid to the point where you walk a couple blocks in, you want to take a shower.
Uh-huh.
Humidity is wet. You're just wet. Mm-hmm. And it's hot enough that like when the wind blows a certain way, you're like, whoa, garbage smell, because it's New York, right? And there's garbage all over the street, and it's a funny time because anybody who lives there will say, oh yeah, like everyone just like is like in the Hamptons, or they go somewhere else and nobody's working in July or August, right? So it's like, it's dead in a certain kind of like local sort of a way.
Yeah.
But the tourist section is very high because people have a chance to go visit New York City, and go to Times Square and do whatever. And which is great. But I was, in that 2-hour window when I was like walking around after my long day of work, and I was I was going on no sleep. I was somewhat delirious. Mm-hmm. The crowds, and people taking photos, and they like won't get out of the way, and like there's cabs and people the crosswalks, the density, and I mean I've been to New York 100 times. I love New York City in many ways, but like there was something about this trip where I was like, this is too much for me. Mm-hmm. Like I want to like go into my very small hotel room and like put CNN on and just like be like quiet and still with like the AC at like a comfortable temperature.
I would do that too.
You know, like I couldn't deal with it.
It's like total audio and visual like overstimulation.
And just like jostling, you know, and there's so much in the city that and New York in particular, just because it's New York and it's special in its own way. But, you know, you're sharing the sidewalk with, you know, people, and they've got their dogs, and like, you know, someone's, you know, has like a I don't know, it was like bringing a bunch of packages into an apartment, and so they've got, you know, the thing, and then you've got your tourists, and then people who are sort of stopped on their phone and yelling at each other. And then the subway, the steam is coming out of the ground, and you're just
and
like,
you have no idea what is that?
And there's a lot of honking.
Yeah.
You know, beep, beep, where you're like, why are you honking? Like, there's no accident here. Stop honking.
I remember when, because I lived there for like, you know, the winter, and I remember like when it would rain and like people's umbrellas and like you know you kind of trying to find umbrella real estate like in the sky, and you're, you know, like everyone's bumping. And oh man, it is a tough city to live in. But
it felt, and there was a time where I was pretty close to moving to New York. I had been in San Francisco for some years, and I had an opportunity with the job that I had at the time to like be in New York and still keep the job, and you know, just see how it went. And I almost did. And even at that time, I was like, I don't know if this is right for me. But let's give it a go. Why not? Yeah. Life is an adventure. And on this last trip, and it's probably because I was extremely sleep deprived and I wasn't there for very long, and I was staying in Midtown in a hotel I would never stay at again. But I was like, nope. Yeah. There is just no way. It's a magical.
Good feeling though. Like it's a good feeling to be like that door is closed and know that you, because I always had for years, like I wanted to move back to New York. I wanted to stay there for longer when I moved there, but I got wooed back to the West Coast. But I remember feeling slight regret. Like I always wanted to experience living in New York for like a 5-year stint. Yeah. You know, and just really sink in, and like, because it is a wonderful city. It's one of my favorite cities. But yeah, the time has passed, and that's okay. You know, like there's
and it may crop up again. Yeah. You know, I was talking to one of the people I was working with out in New York. He and his wife live in San Francisco, but they used to live in New York. And he was like, you know, I was kind of complaining, as I do, Sarah the complainer. You know, I was like, oh God, it's just too much. It's too much hustle and bustle. And he was like, yeah, but like, think about like when you're 65, like you could have like a cute little studio in New York. And, you know, you just kind of live amongst the people and like that might be kind of fun. And I was like, maybe like it might come back around again.
Yeah. I mean, like Parker Posey, she's that lady. She's that little lady that lives alone with her dog or something.
Well,
and
she's not 65.
No, but she's, I mean, what is she now? She's mid-50s.
I don't know.
I'm not really sure. Anyway, she wrote a book.
She looked great, Parker.
She does. She's great. And she talks about that. She talks about sort of like her kind of solo adventures in the city and everything. Anyway, well, it's funny. I wanted to mention, I've kind of talked about this before a little bit, but you know, it really is true. And in life, you always have to get reminded by things. Like you forget simple stuff, you know, like just simple philosophies about life. And I've had a pretty crazy couple weeks. I've had to like really, you know, deal with the moving, but also working super hard. We've had a ton of field shoots, which field production is very difficult because it's very physical. Yeah. But you have to be really a problem solver.
You're on your feet.
Yeah. Like I hurt my foot because I've been on my feet too much. And so 3 weeks ago I started field shooting. So like all that first week, all like a couple weeks ago, and then last week there was a request to shoot a last minute. We wanted to get a few more shots at the last minute. And so I had to put together a field shoot in, 30-ish hours, like overnight. We had to book a house in Malibu. We had to, plan this hike to these ruins and this waterfall, like on the same day. I mean, it's just like, right. A lot of these asks are, I mean, it really, sometimes I feel like being a producer is like being a magician. Because in a way, you really do have to orchestrate stuff that feels impossible and often is. And anyway, my point is, I was so dreading that day because it was such a hustle. And I just like, the night before we had to get up really early and get out to Malibu, and I was just really worried about it, and it was the first part of the shoot. We shot on the beach. We had this beautiful house. It ended. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty great. This is great. It's great. But I always knew in the back of my mind, being a producer, you're like, something is probably going to go wrong because this day is not over.
Right.
Second part of the day was to go up to this place called Solstice Canyon. It's also in Malibu, but it's kind of a trek. It's up by Pepperdine. It's like north. Go to this canyon. It's like 90 degrees. And, we had to get this shot at this ruin. This is like a CEO request. Like, this is like a big deal.
Yeah.
And so we got misinformation online. There was like all these different, stories about like the loop being 2 miles, the loop being 4 miles. I had a whole crew with me. I had a makeup woman with like a bag. Like we had props. We were carrying fresh flowers in buckets. Like,
Oh my
it
God.
was a fucking motley crew.
Oh my God.
Pardon my French. Long story short, so we're on this hike and I'm kind of like cool to hike. I'm like, oh, get some exercise, boiling hot. People were like wanting to stop, no shade. It was really, really hard. It was physically hard and the day was long. But when we finally found the ruins, it was weird. It was like this weird cathartic experience after I was muddy. My foot hurts like hell. We're all like really like exhausted.
Yeah, you're wound
and we
up.
finally get to this. Anyway, we were in good spirits, even though it was really hard. My point is that sometimes I feel like these crazy challenges, it's hard to throw yourself into these challenges because you don't want to feel pain. But I swear to God, like later that night, I was with the crew, we had some drinks and I was like, man, it just felt good. It was like, I'm glad that we went through that suffering because it was like toasting them and being like, what did we do? Today was crazy.
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
weird and fun and hard, but like very rewarding.
Sometimes that kind of like running on fumes
Yes.
thing works to our advantage.
It does. I agree.
Even though you don't want to do it and it sucks.
Yep.
But you end up kind of bonding because of it.
Oh, and it was thankfully it was actually a pretty awesome crew, like great people.
Yeah.
We took like a group
Oh
shot.
yeah, I mean
it was really fun.
Some people would be like, "Bye, I'm
yeah.
out of here."
Oh, I last project some people did walk. So
Yeah.
it's just some of these jobs are getting harder and harder, and I'm kind of impressed with producers who you got to be like really tough, and I feel like I used to be tougher, so it's getting harder for me. But man, it's like you got to like pull something out of nothing all the time. It's a crazy job. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say.
Well, Heather, I'm glad that you made it through.
Thanks.
And the ruins.
I know,
I don't even know what you're talking about, but it sounds like a cool place that I should visit.
Ruins in Malibu.
The ruins of Malibu. Yeah. Did you see a lot of like the devastation from the recent fires?
Yeah, so that's what the ruins were.
Oh.
It was like
the ruins of mansions.
I know, it's interesting. Yeah, it was a house. It was
Camille Grammer's house.
It was a lot of like chimney, like the remains of like the chimneys. It was trippy. It was
that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if it was from this fire, but it was
not
from
like
a
Mayan
fire.
ruins of
No,
Malibu.
no. It was
Different
it was more
ruin.
like
it was actual fire stuff.
I think it was it was fire stuff, but it was houses that were nestled into these mountains that had like they didn't tear it all down. So it was like pieces of these houses. It was there was like chimneys and like it was just weird in the middle of this jungle. It was just like very random. Very random, but kind of cool.
Well, you know what, Otis? It sounds like a great hike for us. Perhaps this weekend.
There you go.
We'll see how it goes.
I'll give you the deets.
So I mentioned my trip to New York, trip from hell, to say the least. But, it was work. So, can't complain.
Yeah.
Getting a paycheck. But, and I've talked about just the beauty that is air travel on the show many times in the past. And the last trip, so on the way to New York from LAX, and just to kind of set up how, like, I live on, well, Heather and I both did, but I live on the far east side of Los Angeles. So LAX, which is the big airport, is no longer anything that's close or easy for me to get to. So I try to fly out of Burbank whenever possible. Well, for whatever reason, the airline that I took doesn't have a direct flight from Burbank to New York for any airport in New York.
That's kind of weird.
Makes no sense. I know. So it just turned into like, well, I got to fly out of LAX. And it was not that early of a flight, but for me to get to LAX is a solid hour.
Yeah, or maybe a little extra.
Maybe a little extra, yeah. And that also included me having to like drop my dog off at the new dog boarding place, which was not that far, but that's another hour. So it's like my morning started quite early. By the time, I got to LAX, and it actually worked out okay. I was like, man, I did this. I got it. I parked in long-term parking and the whole thing. And then my flight was delayed 5 hours. So I just kind of hung out at LAX and just acted like that was my house in Terminal 7 for a while. But anyway, so that sucked. And I don't even remember who I sat next to on the way there because I was just so like, I don't know.
You were seeing red.
I was seeing red. I was actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of that iPhone app. It probably has an Android app as well called Calm. It's like a meditation app.
Oh, yeah, I know. I've seen it. Yeah, I know like what the logo looks like.
All I did, I just kept being like, okay, next one. Just
nice.
like talk to me.
I love that.
Have a soothing voice. I'm just going to close my eyes
apps.
because I can't sleep on planes. But I was so like, I was ready to end it all. Like, that feeling where you're like, I'm just going to open the emergency door and jump out.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you're stuck on the tarmac.
Ugh, horrible.
I would just, yeah.
No, I thought that while we were like 30,000 feet above ground. Actually, I was like, I'm just going to open the door and like jump out. But anyway, got to New York. New York was whatever, soupy. And so on the way back, I was just so happy to be coming back. And my flight was actually delayed on the way back too, but not 5 hours. It was like an hour. And it's me. I'm in an aisle seat, thank goodness. And then there's a woman in the window seat. And when you get that feeling where it's like, I knew it was a full flight because I knew it was when I got my seat that, there weren't a lot of seats, but there wasn't anybody in the middle seat. And you're like, I think they're about to close the doors. Like, we're going to make out, and
it's not like make out. Like
we're not going to make out with each other physically. We're going to
score.
We're going to be happy that no one's in the middle seat. So at the very last minute, of course, this big dude, not like fat, but like, just a big dude, like 6'5". He's in the middle seat.
I always feel like, why does that always happen to me? But it's good to know it happens to you too.
Oh, it happened. Yeah.
Too bad you didn't have one that armrest thing. Remember? It was like the first episode, I think, of this show where you talked about that like portable armrest where you like have your own little section.
Well, so it's funny that you mentioned this, Heather, because, okay, so he gets in the middle seat, whatever, it's fine. Like you kind of have to like take off your seatbelt and, do the whole thing. And the first thing he says to me is, because I'm using this 17-inch laptop for, reasons that it's too much to go into, but I had to use it. He was like, whoa, how big is that laptop? And I'm like, okay, this is going to be a long flight.
That makes me laugh.
Right. And
as big as you, buddy.
And he was a man spreader, meaning that like, the thighs are out. And you're kind of like, I felt bad for the dude. Like it almost would have been the right thing for me to be like, I'll just sit in the middle seat because like you're going to be so uncomfortable between us. And like, I've got this huge laptop, like it's like going to be hard for you to get out. But I was also like, no, grandma needs her aisle seat, so I was just like, whatever. And like, okay, so he's already like insulted my laptop where I'm like, well, fuck yourself. And then, we get up and going. And before we're even off the tarmac, like he's got like all this food and it's like stinky and the whole thing. That. And at one point he brings out this like gigantic ice cream sandwich, like bigger than any ice cream sandwich I've ever seen.
Whoa.
Like, don't even know. He got it at Newark Airport somewhere. And I'm like, how long has that been? Like, how it's been, like, it's all melted. Like, it took him a while to, like, get to the ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
And it was just sitting there on the plane. Like,
what a random thing to bring on the plane.
Very strange.
Like, get a cookie.
And, well, it was cookie-ish, but there was definitely ice cream involved. And it's kind of like, and he's eating it, and like, he's eating it like he's about to die or something. Like, crumbs are falling out of his mouth. Like, it's a little manic. It's a manic ice cream sandwich eating session, And you kind of, you sort of side eye somebody, and you're like, and like I couldn't stop looking at him. I was like, what are you doing?
Wow.
Again, he was a big dude. He was probably hungry, but it was like, whoa.
Imagine what he does at home, just like by himself.
Yeah, right. I know, because like his ice cream sandwich crumbs were like falling on me.
I see some on your computer, actually.
He's manspreading, and he's also using both of the armrests You know, I'm in the aisle, so whatever.
See,
I'm
that's
just
what
kind of going that way.
We get the short end of the stick as small people because it's like, oh, well, you don't really need a lot of space because you're small. You can fit on the seat, you know. But we also like to have, you know, some elbow room.
The truth is, I don't really need that much space. I mean, planes are like not as uncomfortable for me as I know that they are for larger humans. But it was like just a weird dude.
Very weird.
And then he kind of like, and this is I'll get to my kind of point and then we'll move on. And this is something that I know that, I don't know, that people have to deal with in different ways. You know, people will sometimes have like a screen on their laptop so that, you know, from an angle, you can't see what's on somebody's screen, right? Because like someone's sitting right next to you, like what if you're doing highly sensitive job work? Like you can't have somebody like spying on what you're doing. I don't have one of those, and I've sort of made fun of friends in the past for being like, oh, you're so paranoid, like someone's gonna like see your spreadsheet, you know, and they're like, well, actually, sir, it's like pretty, you know, like who knows who's sitting next to you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like what if somebody from like a rival company was sitting next to you and like saw your company's secrets and it was a big deal. Anyway, so I don't have that on this computer. This is a huge computer, blah, blah, blah. And at a certain point, you know, and I paid for my Wi-Fi, you know, so because I'm like, I'm in the air for 6 hours. I might as well like do some work and, you know, and look at Instagram. And he kept commenting on what was on my screen. Ugh. And the first time I kind of was like, I had like my earbuds in, so I was like, what? Oh yeah, you know, kind of just like, I don't want to talk to you. And then like it happened a few more times where I was like, dude, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's
like I understand that you're going to
impolite.
be like looking at my screen like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Like I would do the same if it was you. You know, like he was watching a movie on his iPad, like I was glancing over at that as well. But like don't keep commenting on what I'm doing. Like that's like, well, it's not illegal, but I can't make you put your eyes somewhere else, but it's highly unethical.
Yeah. You gotta, that's like, and it's just impolite. Like you just gotta like, sure, your eyes are going to naturally go there, but don't make it so obvious. And
like he was
try to
commenting
control
on
yourself.
like things that he was reading in like Slack conversations I was having. Don't do that.
No, that's
like,
not cool.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
you
and I don't want
person?
him to read what I'm writing to you.
So as soon as that, you know, let's call it 3 hours into our 6 hour flight, I was like, you are now my enemy, and I'm going to get my armrest back. And so we did some elbow like war for a
Super
while.
fun.
And I was like, I just don't
We're not
like,
friends.
I don't like you anymore. Yeah. Every time he had to get up and go to the bathroom, I was like, all right.
Oh, Plain Follies.
Plain Follies. Yeah, they continue. So I will be sure to report back next time I get on a plane.
I don't know
you
what I
guys
like
know
more,
how
your
it went.
Plain Follies or your Date Follies. They're both pretty damn good.
I felt like I was on a very bad date. A very long 6 hour bad date.
I do not envy you. I'm telling you. So this I thought you'd find interesting. In fact, I was having a conversation with my friend Abby last night. We were having a little chat, and you know, she mentioned she reads Man Repeller, which I do also. But I've been so not online for the last like couple weeks, like reading just for pleasure. I've mostly been doing work and researching things. But there, about a few weeks ago, Stanford released a study that tracked how couples, sort of trends in how people meet each other over the last kind of 80 years. And, you know, this is not surprising. We all would assume this, but since 2000, online dating has gone, you know, crazy. It's increased,
Gone viral.
Gone totally viral. Oh my God. So it's funny because, you know, even when we were in high school, you know, I remember always having workplace romances. I mean, I remember dating a lot of people at work. So did you. You know, friends would do matchmaking. You know, apparently that's on decline. But what I love about these types of things, I love charts and graphs, and, you know, I just find it very interesting. This is a really fun little chart.
Okay.
And it's called How Couples Meet. And it's from 1940 to 2020. And then it's like 0 to 40%. And this is, again, percentage of, you know, who met in a certain way. And it's a crazy chart because you see most of the lines are kind of like even-ish, you know, so there's like met in church, you were neighbors. This is like 1950s style. This is how a lot of people met back in, early 40s, 50s, 60s.
Parents set you up.
Yes, parents set you up. Met in college. A lot of college sweethearts, high school met in primary or secondary school. A lot of people were, like early sweethearts and like had families together. Met through family is very down in 2020. Like it was up at like 30% in 1940 and it spikes all the way down. Met as coworkers, or at work or through coworkers, has dipped a lot over the years. It was actually not super popular in the 50s, and then it spiked in like the 80s and 90s, and then it kind of came back down in 2020. Met through friends. That was sort of steady for a long time until like early 2000, and now it's like completely plummeted.
That's interesting.
I know. I find it interesting too because I think
people still have friends.
They do, but people are so buried in their phones now that like I think it's just like socializing has changed a lot. But met in a bar and restaurant, that's the one thing has been pretty steady over the years and has kind of been probably the second most popular way that people are meeting now is still in bars, which I get that because I meet people in bars. I mean, I don't go to bars that much anymore, but I usually talk to the person next to me.
Sure.
Whether or not I'm attracted to them is a different story. But the met online didn't even exist, obviously, for decades.
Until like 80-ish.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like slow start. And then, like 1995-ish, literally just goes straight up. Just like straight up, and now in 2020 it's like the way to meet people.
Well, it's interesting too because like in 1995 the internet existed, but it was still very new.
Yeah.
So it's like meeting someone online was probably like you're in a chat room, right? You're on AOL.
Oh God.
Or Netscape Navigator or something. Or you're in a news group. It's not like there was like Match.com, like all that stuff came way later. But yeah, the meeting people online thing, whether it's romantic or friendship or I don't know, whatever it might be, that's just a tool that did not exist until that time.
Oh no, totally. It is times have sure changed.
It's funny too because I was when I was in New York, I was watching like New York television. I love to watch local news whenever I'm in a different place.
Like the Weather Channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, like I prefer the local, where they're like on Columbus Avenue tonight. A dog was seen roaming. The fireman got him out of a tree. Like I love the local news.
I like the local newspapers too. Like getting the thin local newspapers.
Just kind of what's going on in the hood. But I was watching regular TV because I don't have regular TV at home, so I don't see commercials, and I'm very a la carte about everything, and there are dating app commercials, and probably some of you are like, yeah, Sarah, they've been going on for a while. Like I had never seen any of this before. I see billboards every now and then for like OkCupid or whatever, but this was like who's the woman who was God, I'm gonna forget. She's Australian. She's
the Bumble girl.
Not the Bumble girl. Well, I don't know. Maybe no. She's an actress. She's she was in. Oh, I'm gonna forget. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But she's like
Nicole Kidman.
It's not Nicole Kidman. No. It was a commercial for Match.com, and the whole thing about it was that she was like, online dating is the worst, right? We all know that, and it was like. It culminated in like why Match.com was like the right dating app to use rather than the other ones that are like bad. And it was like, wow, we've really gotten to like a weird point here where it's like, okay, they didn't exist. Now they exist. And now we are being marketed to that they suck. But like, here's why, like this, like particular little twist. It's like a cleaning product or something. Like, cleaning products are the worst. This is why this cleaning product is better.
Yeah,
it's for like dating and love.
It's so mainstream and ubiquitous. It is crazy. It's like because we knew a time when it didn't exist. So that's what's weird. I think kids these days, like life didn't exist without dating apps. So it's like that's how they are used to being social is on Snapchat and all these different platforms. Anyway, we want to take a quick minute to,
Yes,
or maybe
we
a
do.
long minute. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We're kind of chatty today. Patreon.com/have such a good day. Want to shout out a couple new patrons. Michael Engel, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. He became a $5 patron. And David Ackers, I believe is how to pronounce that, is a new $5 patron. Welcome, you guys. We're so stoked to have you.
We are very stoked to have you. You are the best, and you join a wonderful, fierce tribe.
Yes.
Of people wanting to have such a
Rare.
good day. By the way, I remember her name, Rebel Wilson.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, so that's...
She's funny.
Yeah, she is. She was very funny. She was in a Match.com ad. I think it was Match.com. I think I'm getting that right. And the whole thing was about how horrible it was. So thanks to the patrons. Hey, so speaking of Patreon, so Heather and I have, over the last several episodes, we've been alluding and sometimes downright just talking about the fact that our lives are a bit in flux right now. Heather had to move, and also, you're working on a new project that you didn't have a couple of months ago.
It's a full-time project, too.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a slog. I'm doing hopefully not a whole lot of travel over the next couple of months, but I will be, as I do every so often. And we're kind of getting to the point where we're like, this show, realistically, because we would like to continue it forever and ever.
We do.
We don't know if we can sit down at a table, the two of us, once a week and do the show.
Yep.
We don't really like the idea of doubling up episodes because there's timeliness involved and it feels kind of stale. And that doesn't really feel quite right for us. And what we would like to do is explore some remote options, which would mean that nothing really, as far as the product that you get, would change. You'd be able to see us if you like the video version. I know a lot of you just listen, so that wouldn't even matter. It wouldn't really change the eventual product, but it would change our approach to it. And we'd have to, there's some post-production that we'd have to rethink, and
I would need to get some gear. Because I need to, basically Sarah's got her setup, but I would need to get like the same setup so that I can record on my end.
Right.
So this is something that is hard to wrap your head around. It takes a little bit of time, especially working full time, but I really, we want to keep the show going. But I need to figure out, like, can I set this up in my place? What day of the week are we going to be doing this? Because this would be something where we'd have to, come up with the right time of the week, to record. But ultimately, if I could just get set up, like, it would be pretty easy breezy.
Yeah, it's and anybody who watches DTNS knows that we've kind of got this whole thing dialed in. DTNS being Daily Tech News Show, which is another podcast that I co-host. So this is something that I think ultimately is better for Heather and I. It would just afford us hours and hours more per week to do other things, because we kind of have a plug and play situation. That said, this isn't going to happen tomorrow.
No.
And we would really appreciate your feedback. If this is something that you're like, cool, sounds great. Let's, to get it going. Or if you're like, oh, for some reason I'm really not into this and here's why, please do let us know. Feedback is really important. What we may want to do, because this, again, what we don't want to do is have anybody be like, hey, where's the show?
Yeah.
And us be like, we're scrambling. This isn't fun. It's
not,
yeah, like
it's not right.
we don't have any time on the weekend. It's becoming something, like the phoning it in thing is not an option for us.
No, definitely not.
We're not going to do that.
No. We're going to have a think on it this week. You guys too.
Yeah.
I'm using my new corporate speak.
Cool.
But
Have a think. Think is a noun now.
It is. And after that, there is potential to take a short pause.
Yes.
On Patreon,
Yes.
which is a thing that you can do, which means we will not be going away altogether. We would just take a pause. You would not have to pay your fees.
Yes.
You would still be able to be on our site.
Yes.
As you can, you won't lose sight of us. It would just be like we'd have to take a month pause or whatever to figure this out, and you would not be charged at that time.
No.
And then once we restart, then you can, come back with full love and support.
Yes. In fact, I am a patron of a couple of projects that have done this for a variety of reasons, and you may be too. But for anybody who's like, whoa, what's happening here? What am I paying for? The whole idea is that it's like pausing your car insurance,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like you don't, your policy number is still in place.
Going on a trip.
Everything's cool, but you're not paying for content that you're not getting. And we don't want anyone to feel like they're paying for something that they're not getting.
No.
And so again, we're having a think. We're having a think. So, and this is all, it takes a village, right? So let's all have a think about it, and give us some feedback so that we understand where the peeps want us to go. But what we think might be the right idea is do a little pause, do a little regroup, and then come back to the show, and hopefully we will not have lost anybody in the meantime.
We hope not to, because that's really the sad part. And please email us at hi@havessuchagoodday.com. That's all we'll say for now. We're going to move on. But please email us your thoughts, chat with us on Patreon, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, we do. So I don't really know how to do a good segue here, so I won't. But I don't really know how to say this delicately, but over the weekend, it was a bad day. It was a bad 24 hours in America. We had a couple of mass shootings. We've had many of those before. And I think part of me feeling very depleted after a lot of travel and just kind of like, I don't know, thinking about the universe. And then, I'm sitting there on a Saturday, just hanging out on a Saturday night, not being social. That's the norm for Sarah these days. Hanging out with my dog or whatever. A friend of mine, I think it was in a Slack group, was like, oh, holy shit, something really bad happened. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it always does. But it was like, I was so depressed. Like immediately, just like everything just dropped, where
totally.
I'm just like, I just want to throw my laptop out the window and stop talking to people for the rest of my life, kind of thing, fleeting feelings, but just like really just awful. And the funny thing is that when something happens, and I remember the Japan tsunami.
Oh yeah,
It was like 2011, and I remember
I felt punched in the gut.
Yeah. So and the reason I bring that up, which has nothing to do with mass shootings, but I remember because it was late at night in California, and I was living with a boyfriend at the time, and we were both still awake, but it was like kind of time to go to bed. And we lived in a loft, so he was upstairs and I was downstairs, and I was like reading or something. The television wasn't on, or I don't think we had cable. And he calls down to me and he goes, "There's a tsunami in Japan," because he was like on Twitter or something. And I was sort of like, I go like, huh? What? And I kind of was like, oh, that sounds terrible. And I kind of went to bed because it was midnight or something. And in the morning, I realized what had, it was the catastrophic event that had happened. And it was a funny thing because it was like, oh, if I had just turned on the news the night before, I probably just wouldn't have gone to bed because it was so horrible, and there was footage and, and people dying and information coming in, like on the minute. But I didn't. I just went to bed. And when this couple of events happened over the weekend, it was sort of the same situation where somebody pinged me and was like, this terrible thing happened. And I immediately, because I don't have cable now, I watch a lot of stuff on demand, but I don't have a way to watch. I have a way to watch live television if I'm using my OTA antenna. Like I can watch network stuff, but like I can't like turn on CNN.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a funny thing because I was like, I sort of don't want to absorb too much of this because it's a bunch of people just being like, well, let's speculate more on the killer, and that kind of thing, which is just, most of it is just, it's just bad news anyway. But I was like, how do I like watch the news right now? I kind of sat there for a minute being like, do I just like glue myself to Twitter for a while. Like, I don't want to do that. You know, like I kind of hate that because there's just so much like, you know, hot takes and
opinions
and sometimes information that's not right or isn't relevant to me. And I, you know, I can't turn on sort of like the 24-hour news thing on my TV, which I have by design because I don't want to watch too much TV. And it was just kind of a funny thing. So like I ended up going to CNN.com and like refreshing it every 5 seconds. Yeah. And it's like, is CNN really like my trusted news source? Well, I mean, kinda. I mean, it's one of them, right? There are many, but it's the one that I feel like is going to be updated probably the most often for something like this until you kind of get some more context. Yeah. And it was just like a weird 5 hours or so where I was like, how do people get their news these days?
I know, it's a really good question.
Because my news is being gathered in weird ways.
I know a lot of people who don't use Twitter, like they don't post anything or have conversations, but they just look at the news. And, you know, Google's a good aggregator. Like, it's funny. I honestly, like, I kind of poke around. I listen to NPR a lot in the morning. I like their news coverage. Yeah. On the way... I like Robin's news hour on Howard Stern a lot. Actually, that's one of my favorite parts of Howard Stern on Sirius XM, which I'm probably going to cancel. But anyway, so yeah, you're right. So it was like
$5 a month for 6 months.
Oh man, I'm trying to call them and I can't get through to try to negotiate because right now I'm paying a high premium. They just kind of knocked me, but I can't even get through.
That seems like a problem.
Yeah.
Like all you do is be like, oh, I'm out of here. And then they'll be like, okay, it's like free.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to do. And so, I'm just, anyway. All right. I think that it is funny because it's kind of like the dating thing. It's like you used to have one thing. You had TV. That's how you got your news. And now it's like I am like I've got my NPR on my Echo, my Amazon Echo, and I've got my Sirius in the car, and then I've got, you know, whatever, like some sites that I look on, you know, here, and I do go to Twitter too. I don't tweet that much, but I never tweet. Let's be honest. You know, so it's funny. There's a lot of different ways that I find my news now, and that's just the way it is these days.
It is, and I know that we all have our own. We've cobbled together whatever solution works for us. I mean, my mom, for example. Hi, Mom. You know, she turns. You know, she's got cable news on, not like 24 hours a day or anything, but it's like she watches a lot of cable news. It's like it's something that is on in the house. There are certain programs, you know, Anderson Cooper hour or whatever, you know, where she's like, I'm into it. You know, this is like how I'm getting my information. And yes, there's some bias there, right? There are liberal versus conservative sources, and that's all up to you guys. We're not even going to get into that conversation, but just to absorb news in general.
Yes.
And it kind of the funny way that I've seen for myself over the last, going on 10 years now, it's like, it's not really the TV being on, you know, droning in the background because I've cut that off for myself on purpose because I'm just like, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Too much fluff.
I agree.
Not enough information, but then I'm kind of hunting and pecking to like figure things out the rest of the way and having to slog through the Twitters and the Facebooks and, you know, my friends on Slack telling me information that may or may not be relevant to me.
There were good news aggregator apps, but I don't really use those anymore. I should look into that. But anywho, I wanted to mention something real quick.
Right.
I know that you and I do a lot of eye rolling on like cultural stuff, you know, stuff that we're maybe because we're older and it's like still silly little gimmicky
Excuse
things.
you, Heather. Older.
Well,
I'm 42 years
slightly older. But you know, we sort of look at cultural movements and like social media and just like things that we're just like, oh my God, that's so gimmicky or so silly or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, get ready to roll your eyes, Sarah.
All right, I'm ready. Love a good eye roll.
There is a thing called drunk yoga. I know.
Is it what it sounds like?
Yeah.
And so you get drunk and you do yoga?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so basically it started in New York, of course, and now it's in LA, of course. You can do it in Venice at the rooftop of a hotel called Hotel Irwin, which was down the street from your house, your original house.
Yes.
It's called the Original Drunk Yoga. It's basically like you have a pre-class like happy hour, and then you do 45 minutes of yoga, and then you wind down at the end. Basically, according to LA Mag, the founder is a Eli Walker. And I think it's a man. I thought it would be a woman, but the goal is to bring kind of like that lack of social pressure when you're at a bar and you have a drink, and it's like kind of takes down your walls so that you can kind of enjoy, 'cause, you know, maybe a lot of people don't want to go to classes because they feel shy or whatever.
Sure.
Whatever. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. It's like 30 or $45 a class. I'm not going to do that. If I want to, you know, go to yoga drunk, then I'm going to have a glass of wine and then I'm going to go to a yoga class, but I'm not going to like do it there.
$40.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not into
I
it.
assumed the drinks were included.
Well, yeah, and it's funny, only in LA, I swear to God, because there's also a, you know, the bar classes. Those are just, you know, the ones, it's like more of like a dance sort of strengthening class. Well, apparently there was one studio that did a sloth bar class, which means that this is very eye rolly to me. They basically rented a sloth, the animal. Her name is Lola. She's been used in kind of entertainment related things in Hollywood. And they had her kind of hang off a bar while people, you know, did their thing in class.
Is Lola enjoying this?
That's what I want to know.
That's the thing.
I know.
You know, it's like, you're not a fucking circus animal.
That's
here,
the thing. I'm just
know?
like, and these girls are standing there doing their thing and like laughing and going, oh,
and taking
is
pictures.
so cute. I'm just like, oh my God.
I mean, sloths are really cute.
Extremely.
And I'm sure that if I could hug Lola, my day would be brighter. But yeah, I don't like that kind of novelty trotting animals out, you know. And
I mean, the goat yoga, I've always wanted to try. I have a friend, my friend Melissa just did it, and I'm actually
I
curious.
saw a photo. It was really cute.
Yeah.
You know, the drunk yoga thing that sounds dumb to me. Just not gonna lie, it just sounds dumb.
Yep.
I mean, it's probably fun, whatever. Just, you know, live your truth. But there was some years ago that somebody that I knew who was a doctor, I think it was in my Twit days, Dr. Mom, who's very active in like our IRC chat rooms, who's a doctor who lives in New York, actually. I had asked the question of like, what is like the impact on your body if you like are drunk and like go to the gym? This is not something I do, by the way, but like, I don't know, like is like, do you like burn as many calories? Like what, you know, what is it? As long as you're not like falling over or anything, like doesn't matter. And I don't totally remember what the answer was, but it was something like, your body doesn't metabolize, like your body's busy metabolizing the alcohol, and so you're actually like realistically, like you're wasting your time at the gym.
It seems like a really bad idea.
Yeah, like it's just like, not only like are you going to get like dehydrated and stuff, but you're actually not going to burn the calories that you would have burned had you been like nice and clean. So the idea of drunk yoga, first of all, yoga is like, I mean, balance is the like
I already have a hard time balancing as
foundation of it. So it's like the idea that you like fall over more or like, that just sounds sloppy and dumb.
Also, part of yoga is, well, at least the one I do, is like you detox because you sweat. You sweat toxins out, and you twist your body so that you twist your organs, so it basically cleans you out. So it's like, it's a contradiction.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't be doing it. I will be drinking and then doing yoga like at different times. Maybe within the same day though.
Sure.
Within the same 24 hours.
Hey, a little cocktail after yoga ain't gonna hurt anybody. Although I feel like if the yoga class is good enough, you usually don't want that afterwards.
You don't. You want,
because you
just
feel
water.
so good.
I know. I totally agree.
You know, like the yoga was the cocktail.
Exactly.
And let that be a lesson to you all.
Well, everybody, please email us what you think about drunk yoga and anything we've talked about on the show. I'd like to hear from you about Sarah's plane partner, the ice cream man. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com and check us out at havesuchagoodday.com is our website.
That's right. See, you know, Heather and I take a week off.
Oh boy,
it's tough
we
stuff.
lose brain cells. Well, I wanted to mention Dave Ackers. He's one of our new patrons I mentioned earlier. He sent us a sweet note. He said, big fan from the beginning, but for some reason I didn't add you in Patreon until now. I've now gone back and listened to all the bonus topics, and they are just as great as the rest of the show. Super sweet note. Thank you so much.
Yay!
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. We're really happy to have you. We also got another email from Outrigger. Well, this is actually a YouTube note. Who said, good show. Been a fan of Sarah since Tech TV. Well, thank you very much. You know, Heather worked at Tech TV as well.
I sure did. Behind the scenes.
Outrigger says, does anyone know the name of the intro song that You're talking about our intro
Yeah.
song. Well, it doesn't have a name. I guess we could give it a name.
I know, it's so funny.
This
I think
is-
it does. It probably does in the file, but it might not be very interesting.
Well, our friend Harry made it for us. And
Shout out to Harry.
Shout out
Not
to
sure
you.
if he listens anymore.
Shout out
but
to you,
I think
Harry
he does.
Blake. I think he does. Harry has made a bunch of great music for us for various projects that I've done over the years, and yeah, that's a Harry original.
It's
so
probably like the Have Such a Good Day
slow
rap.
We
That's what it's
we can
called.
call it the Have Such a Good Day main theme.
Yeah, that's probably what it's called.
And maybe, between now and our next show, we'll think of something
And
cooler. But we're glad you like
maybe-
the show. We're glad you like the song.
Hey, down the road, maybe we'll make it into a ringtone. Do people do that anymore? I used to love downloading ringtones. I had like a Missy Elliott track on my phone for a while.
Well, ringtones. What fun.
Oh, man. I'm going to bring those back. Anyway, thanks for listening, all y'all.
All y'all.
Super fun.
You're all the best. $5 and up ballas. Bonus topic is coming up.
So stay tuned.
Right around the corner for everybody else. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Heather.
And have such a good day.
Bye.
$5 ballas.
Welcome back.
And those watching the video version, you can see Otis the dog. He says, "I love this part of the show."
Are you guys done yet?
He says,
I'm hungry.
I want to go outside. I want to go play with my doggy friends."
So Sarah,
He doesn't have any doggy friends. He's kind of a loner.
oh no, but you're his best friend.
I'll say
Pretty much.
we're kind of each other's best friends, which it can be a little borderline, but whatever.
So I'm at the edge of my seat because I know that last week we talked about our favorite things. And
Yeah.
this is again not like this is just like general
This is
everyday
off the top of your
stuff.
head kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I love pancakes
Yeah.
and I love
and
sunshine.
I said I love a cool breeze.
yeah, you did say that.
Which I do.
What are your 5 least favorite things?
Okay, so
This might be even more fun.
earlier in the show, mentioned going to New York, and New York hustle and bustle, tough stuff for grandma here. And I will say, one of my least favorite things is construction.
Yours?
Yes, Heather, that's what this is the game that we're playing. It's not really a game; it's more of like a top 5. But yes, I know it's yours as well. But it's not just construction like around my home,
Sure.
right? Well, of which there is plenty.
Sure.
Not right now, but there's been construction across the street for like 3 months now. But walking around New York, I'm like, oh my God, like how much of a billionaire is the guy who runs the scaffolding company? Because
so true.
literally 30% of all buildings have scaffolding up on them. And it's like, you look at it and you're like, how does it even constructed? There are pipes. It's just like, there's so much.
I know, like mechanical engineering like blows my mind. And construction companies are fucking killing it right now.
Well-
'Cause every city's being built out. It's like housing shortages all over the world.
And I understand that this is just a necessary part of construction. I get it. I get that at the end of, construction, usually something better has been constructed, right? The playground across the street looks way better than it did a few months ago, but, I had to hear a lot of jackhammering in order for that to happen. But I mean, construction can eat a dick.
Oh man, it's like, I mean, there's so many nuances to it. It's like jackhammers and then buzz saws. I mean, tarring a roof, you got that gross tar machine that's like churning this like toxic sludge. I mean, it's endless.
It's endless. So that's
a good one.
Yeah.
What's next?
Next one is Cottonmouth.
Oh God. Like you having it or someone else having it?
Well, me, because I can't feel it when someone else has it. And Cottonmouth is like, often it's like, ha ha, wink wink, it's because you're stoned.
Smoking weed.
You're smoking weed. But what I just mean by that is like, it's like that feeling where you're like, I have a dry mouth. Like I need water more than anything I've needed before in my life. Like imagine like taking a paper towel and crumpling it up and putting it in your mouth. And like how like gross that would be, and just like, and it would like soak up all the juice, and it's just like, and like your tongue is like sticks to it, like, oh, that's just like one of my least favorite
That's a good one.
sensations
I like that one.
ever.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Okay, what's number 3?
Well, I thought we were gonna go back and
Oh,
forth.
we are. Okay, well, I
I
didn't-
gave you 2, you give me 2.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Okay. you know everything about me, so nothing is going to be a surprise. But slow drivers in the fast lane, drivers who don't respect the fast lane. You know what the fast lane is for? The fast lane is a passing lane.
It's for going fast.
Yes. And what happens is, what drives me crazy is that, no pun intended, is that it's dangerous. And if you have to go all the way to the outside to pass, it's dangerous. You don't want to be weaving. That's what causes accidents. So I honestly, I don't drive super fast because I think that's dangerous. But I think seriously, people driving slow is just as dangerous. You know, you got to move over. That's the whole point. All the slow traffic on the right-hand side. And it just, that's what causes so many like traffic jams is the mismanagement of the road, you know, and it just gets me crazy. It's like people are just asleep at the wheel, and I don't understand, you know, you're behind them and they're so oblivious that they're even doing anything, and they're going 30 miles an hour in the fast lane. It's like, if you were on the Autobahn, like in Europe, you would just get run over. Like there's no patience for that. Yeah. Anyway, that's a huge
Germans don't play.
No.
All right.
And my number 2.
One?
Honestly, and I think you're with me on this, is I think we share a lot of the same ones.
Yes.
Just
waking. That's why we're friends.
Yeah. Waking up, grousing friends. No, just kidding. Waking up super early for a flight. And this is, that you might think, well, it's not that bad, but it's like, there is something.
It's bad if you can't sleep the night before because you're anxious about waking up super early,
and
which is
you're
me.
Getting up at 4 a.m., it's like you're in your REM sleep, like it's painful. It feels like you're ripping yourself. It's different when you get up at 7 and you like have to go to work. I mean, sure, that's painful too, but there's some it's like I almost feel nauseous. Like when I set my alarm for 3 or 4 in the morning, I just like it hurts.
It does.
So I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, without fail, I'm always like by like 2 a.m. Somewhere in my mind, I'm like, the alarm's gonna go off. The alarm's gonna go off. Is it gonna go off? Maybe the alarm will break. Maybe I'll miss my flight. Yeah. I should probably just get up now. No, I shouldn't. And it's just like it's like torture.
You know what else I hate is anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety
can eat one too. All right, so my number 3 is okay. So I really don't. I am not a picky eater for the most part.
No, you're not.
I'm not. Yeah, I kind of just I like what I like, but I feel like I'll kind of eat anything. I'm not super weird about food. However, watermelon is an offensive fruit. It's an offensive melon. When I see it in the grocery store, especially in a grocery store like when I go to Vaughn's, anybody who knows Vaughn's is like, it's a perfectly fine grocery store, but it's not like a Whole Foods, right? It's kind of, you just kind of got everything in there. Like, and the lighting is sort of strange. It's a little bit murky in there sometimes, where I'm like, can't you guys get your lighting together? It would just make all the food look better. But I will see like a watermelon, and sometimes because they think it's enticing, like, you know, they'll like have like one on display where it's been cut into, where you can see the inside. Yeah. A watermelon that is intact, that's just a big old green melon with some stripes on it, where I'm like, no thank you. Once I see the inside of it, I just want to vomit.
It's so interesting. That's a very interesting one. I've heard some random ones. Like I have a friend who hates cranberries, but like watermelon, of all things.
I hate
I wonder where that comes from. I mean, it's all probably...
There's a visceral reaction that I get to it. Like in the grocery store, like I kind of am like, don't look at the watermelon. Don't look at the watermelon. Because as soon as I do, I'm like, I don't even want to be here anymore. I don't want any food for the rest of my life.
And you like uni, which is like...
I love uni.
Which I just find...
Again, it's not like it's... This is an irrational thing. I understand that. Most people love watermelon. They think I'm weird. There's probably some watermelon haters out there. I've met a few of you in my life. You know, we high five each other, we fist bump. But no, I hate it. It makes life worse, and it ruins every fruit salad.
That's what makes us all so unique. Especially in summer, it must be annoying because there's like the watermelon salads and like all that. I have a good one. Socks that slip in your shoes. Ugh. Oh man, it's so funny. It's like, is that
a thing that you like? It's just a problem that you're having?
And it's so funny. I specifically invested in some really good, like, you know, the ones that that you don't see. They're like ankle socks that go into the shoe. Yeah. And they're good. They're good brand. They're like good quality, and they're specifically, that's what the people whoever designed them did not design them well, because all of them, I have many pairs of the same brand, they all slip, and I'm like, why do you make they call it a non-slip sock? and it fucking slips. And I'm like, is it my foot? Is it my shoe? Is it the way I'm walking? No, I think it's a sock because I have other ones that don't do it. And so I'm convinced. And it's just, I don't know why. It's just like one of those things that I will literally be wearing and I will constantly pull them back up, slip back down, pull them back up. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Are they
it's a first world
trouser
problem.
socks?
No, they're like
they're like the little ankle socks.
I'm even wearing them right now.
Because I've got a bunch of ankle socks and they don't slip ever. So I don't know
lucky?
I don't know where you're getting your socks, or maybe you're just a weird walker.
I might be. So what's your fourth or fifth?
It's fourth.
Okay.
My fourth most hated thing. Most hated thing that's just, just kind of grapey stuff.
Yeah.
What is it actually? Like I said,
we're shooting from the hip here.
We're very much. I was just about to say that, shooting from the hip. I think it is okay. This is again, Grandma Lane really is on her high horse today. But like, so I've got these neighbors who live on the same property, on the same lot that I'm in. They're super nice, really nice couple. It's a man and a woman, and they're social. On Friday, their barbecue was going. There's people in their little deck, and I live above them, so I kind of look down on them from a couple different windows in my house, and so I can sort of observe them, and I just got to say that after a certain hour, it's just not appropriate to be turning up the Alexa music, kind of thing. Yeah. So my speakers are like, what?
Here's the station you might
No,
no Alexa.
Alexa,
Stop.
Goodness gracious. But they will kind of go hard, and I'm not talking like it's like they're not having a rave or anything, but it's like music is playing, people are loud, and it's always like you can tell because I know everyone's voices because I'm just one of those neighborhood watch people. It's like it's not them. It's like some dude that they have over who is maybe a little bit overserved, who's just like, kind of like screaming at the smart speaker like at midnight, and they've got these like real nice kind of cute like porch lights, but from my bedroom I usually just like have all the windows open and the blinds open and whatever, because I like my cool breeze, right? It's not very cool in the summer, but I have to like shut the window and shut the blinds, and that does the trick. Sure. Put on some earplugs. I can sleep fine. It's not the end of the world, but I'm like, think about your neighbors. So that's my number 4 thing that I don't like is people who do not respect their neighbors.
Oh yeah, totally. Being neighborly. That's a really good one.
I'm this is not putting me out all that much, but it's like, you're just like, don't you think you're being loud? Because you are. Like, I'm right here. And like, I'm not the only neighbor you have. You have like 10 other neighbors right around you.
Totally. I would say this is sort of like not that exciting because it's like, I think a lot of people hate this, but I don't know. Actually, I think a lot of people enjoy this. It's like a weird thing. Like I don't, long ass lines, doesn't matter what it's for. I'm sorry, but like it could be for my favorite band in the world. I don't know, like if it's a 5-hour line, I'm not doing it. Like it has to be very, very, very special for me to wait in a long line. But I've noticed like with these like sort of Instagram-y kind of places, like there's this ice cream shop downtown that is like soft serve, and they do a black ice cream. Actually, I tried it the other day because I was curious. It was like black soft serve. It's like it black with a black waffle cone and black sprinkles, and it's just
why
it's a thing.
Why
it's an Instagram
why
thing. They just like, they're so big on Instagram. I
does
feel
it
like
taste? What does it taste?
It actually tastes really good. It was like a cookies and cream, and it was just it's made with charcoal. Like they put charcoal in lemonade. It's like a health thing. Yeah. But anyway, this place I think was like built for Instagram. It's like one of those places. This is like really gimmicky. But we were there for a shoot, and so I tried one. I'm really into ice cream right now. It's another story. That's something it wouldn't be on my hate list. But yeah, like people wait. I mean, it's insane. It takes a while to make one ice cream. It's like you wait in that line. It's pretty insane. I'm like, I just don't. There's not. Thankfully, that day there wasn't a very long line, but I know that place is notoriously really, really crazy. But yeah, I'm not gonna wait in line. And I think that
if there's a velvet rope, I'm not going.
Nope.
Nope.
That's my fourth one.
No.
Okay, what's your fifth?
So your fourth is waiting in line. Don't
Yeah.
like it. Understood. Yeah. So it's funny. You said socks slipping, which again I don't really have a problem with. Although yesterday I was on a semi long walk with Otis the dog, and like there was like a tiny little rock that was in my shoe.
Yeah.
And you know what you kind of just like if I can just like kind of. Just like flick my ankle so that it goes like into like a corner by like a toe and like doesn't really bother me. We'll be fine because I really don't want to take off my shoe like on the street right now. But like I couldn't. I had to. It's not really that, but it's like. So this is a little bit more of like a overall. My number one thing is just like discomfort.
Yes.
While transporting yourself
100%.
with your 2 feet from point A to point B, and that might be. So it's like yesterday. It was like yesterday wasn't really that hot. Saturday was. And I'm walking the dog early, and it's like I'm in a tank top and shorts, and but like he's got to walk. And it's like, and I'm sweating and I'm drinking my coffee. So I'm sweating more. And I'm just like, I feel so gross.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
don't
just
like that
feel
either.
like I feel like
I don't like the heat.
a big old like pile of germs right now. Like I just want to take a shower.
You are.
I feel like a pile of germs right now too. But and then it's like we're like a little pebble in your shoe where you're like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
No, it reminds me of like the Amelie, the movie Amelie. It's a French movie. And in the beginning, they set up the characters and like the mom and the dad. And it's like, this is what they love and this is what they hate. And one of them was the father comes out of the swimming pool and his shorts are stuck, and you like pull them. And then another one is she's the mother like comes out of the bathtub and her hands are all like, wrinkly and pruny. That's what this whole thing reminds me of.
You're right.
But my last thing you might relate to too.
Okay.
Can I get a drum roll? Putting on the duvet cover it's like worse than folding a fitted sheet, but it's
Punch
like
me
on
in the
par.
face
I know. It's like
before I have to do
dude,
that.
Do you think there's a TaskRabbit that like I'm gonna look that up. I'm actually sort of curious because seriously, it's hard when you're alone doing it. I can never figure it out.
A TaskRabbit or just general housekeeping. What's funny about that, Heather, is that I did a bunch of laundry before I left town earlier this week because I just I didn't put any of it away, but I was like, at least I just want like a pile of clean laundry when I come back, And one of those things was the duvet cover. I got back on Friday night and the duvet cover is not on my duvet.
Yeah.
It's sitting on top of it. So if you looked at my bed, you'd be like, yeah, it looks fine. It's not actually.
Oh,
the
I do the
duvet
same
is
thing.
not inside the duvet cover because I just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's, that was 3 days ago.
I know. I did the same thing. My last time I washed it, it was sitting on there it was like curled up or crumpled in the corner for like a week. And then I finally was like, I gotta do this. Anyway, all right, we're rambling. Thanks for listening. If you guys have some really exciting things that you hate, pet peeves, please email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, did we miss anything really obvious besides my hatred
like
of
we did.
watermelon and Heather's duvet
Slipping
issues?
socks.
And pebbles in our shoes. Fucking scaffolding.
I think we're gonna have a really good day. We got it all off our chest.
We did.
So
Yes, this was cathartic.
it really was.
All right,
Thank
everybody.
you for listening, you guys.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For those of you who are watching our video, you can see that Heather's wearing a really cute dress.
I am.
And,
It's hot out.
And I feel like I could take another shower right now. And it's, 10 a.m. But we will see you all soon. We will keep you updated on how Have Such a Good Day is going to flourish in the future. And again, really, really, really need your feedback. It will help us make the right decision. But
In the meantime,
the show will go on. We'll figure it out.
we will, because we love you and we want to keep the family intact.
That's right. We'll all do it together. In the meantime, I am Sarah.
And I'm Heather.
And have such a good day.
Later.